So in starting, right, this is kind of the initial, let's say, hole, or the initial mountain that every single one of us is guaranteed to go through. So no matter who you are, whether you're completely brand new to the markets, right? Even if you're just completely brand new, or if you've been in the markets for a while and you've been learning, and you've been working through the portal, and things have just been like things have been making sense and everything's amazing. You will feel this, right? So in quotations, you can kind of think about this. No matter who you are, no matter where you're starting as a trader, if you're not yet profitable, which is going to be most of us, right? Starting out, you're not going to be profitable because there's things to do to become profitable. The overarching idea is that you're going to feel this way right here in the top left. I see it, but I'm stuck. Or I see it, or I understand it, but I'm confused. I've been through the material, but I don't know what's going on. I've done X, Y, Z, but I'm still aimless, right? Something along those lines. And what I want to do is I want to start by basically talking about the fact that this is extremely normal and actually required in trading. Actually in any skill set, but it's a requirement that when you get started, you feel confusion. Okay? Now, what I also want to do is I want to separate the confusion types. Right? There's two types of confusion. That's really it. One type of confusion comes from the fact that you're not actually learning anything substantial, and you're confused because you actually haven't learned anything. So this is what you'll see kind of online, where someone's selling a car, basically trying to sell to anyone that's not trying to learn, but trying to make money as fast as possible, right? So you'll see the people that are just trying to, advertise the Lambo, the car, the lifestyle, the beach, whatever it might be, right? And oftentimes with that comes a very kind of stupid, simple system that in reality doesn't work until you've at least dedicated 5-6 years to understanding why it doesn't work, right? So this is like the weird type of confusion. This is the confusion where you're not learning anything substantial, and as a result, you're confused, and it never takes you anywhere. That's a very bad kind of confusion. Now, the opposite side of that, the other type of confusion that exists, is that you come into a space and you are dumped with, or you're forced to work through material or information that might be so dense in the fact that there's a lot of it, there's a lot to take in, and there's a lot to execute upon, that when doing it, when you see that information pop in front of you, or you start seeing visual representations of it or anything, the first thing that happens to you is you can feel a form of panic. You can feel a form of this idea that this is going to take longer than you ever anticipated, and you are guaranteed to feel this notion of, holy shit, I am confused. I don't know what I can do now. There is pure confusion that kind of exists. There's this layer of confusion. Now, that kind of confusion is one of the most important things in your trading, right? The first type of confusion, where literally, if you kind of imagine this, there is a slab of concrete above your head, right? No matter how hard you fucking hit your head against the concrete, you're not getting through, right? You might be on steroids and super buff and crazy, and then you hit it hard enough that your head fucking bleeds out, and you break the concrete, and you finally figure it out, right? That can happen to some people. That's like the 1%. But in general, bad type of confusion where you're learning suboptimal information that's not taking you anywhere, you're basically banging your head against concrete and you're never going to pierce through it. The other type of confusion, the one I'm talking about right now, which is like, let's say, and I'm equating this to what the material and the mentorship kind of looks like, which is that a lot of information is dropped on you. You're going to see a lot of people doing a lot of what can appear to be different things, making money here and there on different assets, on different time frames. And you're looking at that, and it feels confusing because you have all this information, you have all this potential success, you have all this potential work that you have to do. So all of that together creates what I call a layer of it's like a cloud layer, right? Clouds are cold, they're frigid, right? As you hike, if you hike a mountain or something, going through the clouds can create weird like environments, right? It's hard, but as per any cloud and as any hiker on a mountain does, what happens no matter what? If you're hiking, if you're walking up a mountain and there is a cloud, what happens by the end of the hike? More often than not, about 95% of the time, 98%, unless we're looking at extremely, extremely edge case scenarios on like Everest or something and people are dying, right? What happens is, I start wondering why I went on a hike. Yeah, so what happens is if you're hiking and there's a cloud, a layer of a cloud, well, you're going to pierce through it. You're going to get through it. You're going to get through the cloud and higher up on the mountain, and you're going to come out the other side, and things are going to appear a lot clearer, and you're going to look back at that cloud and say, oh, I can do that 500 more times, that's not a big deal. But the big problem is that initial step, right? Because confusion is imminent, confusion is guaranteed, confusion is good. And it's really a question of how do you deal with the confusion when it first comes, and then how do you remember that moment so that you can deal with it any time that it happens again, right? Because in trading, and any other skill set, but especially trading, because of how much it requires of you, right? We've spoken about this before, but trading is the only place in the world where you are the boss, you are responsible for everything, you are your own salary provider, you are your own responsibility taker, you are the leader, you are the employee, you are everything. You are every bit of that company, and no part of that company can be lying to itself, right? Because like, what do you normally get in a company? In a company, you'll have, even guys, a lot of us have worked 9 to 5s, right? How many people around you, even if it's yourself, because I've even done this, are basically jerking off doing nothing for the whole 9 hours, and then they still get paid? Right? Like, let's not bullshit ourselves. We know that it's pretty much the entire workforce, right? With the exception of people that are average then, and then you have the exceptional workers that then, start moving and get promoted and stuff, right? And I'm not even gonna lie to you guys. When I worked most of my 9 to 5s, including one where I was in front of a computer, I did jack shit. I did about 30 minutes of work a day over the 9 hours, and the rest was either trading, learning to trade, hiding in the bathroom, and reading a book, right? That's it. So a very important first step is understanding that is already how we function, right? Which means that when we take over and we start trading, we are responsible for every moment of that, right? So you can't have the piece of your brain or the part of your subconscious that is willing to work that way, which a lot of us have, in trading, because it's going to be a lie, right? How many times online, even like from both legit gurus and from fake gurus, do you in the comments see stuff like, this is all hindsight bullshit, I don't believe, right? This is all nonsense. When you do this, you're actually lying. You actually, you pre-recorded it and you knew where price was going, blah, 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 blah. How many times do you see that on both fake gurus and scammers and real gurus, right? Like, however you want to think about this. How many of the comments have you seen this happen over and over and over again? It's all over, right? So directly what that means is that the person writing that literally believes subconsciously at some level that whether it's a legit person or a fake person, that person is lying to themselves, right? And the problem with that is that if you translate that into any of your own trading, what does it mean for you if you're running back tests or forward tests or case studying and you have that mentality under you? What's going to happen? Right? You're going to lie to yourself about every action you take, which means that by the time you go live or by the time you start trading with real money, what's going to happen? Right? You're going to blow up and you're going to do poorly, right? So the trading space in itself is a complete game of literally you versus you. And the reason it is because you are the company, you are the employee, you are the leader, you are the CEO, you are the person that expenses the account, you are the person that takes care of taxes, you're the person that takes care of the entire funnel of the business. And if any piece of that is missing or any piece of that is lying to itself, you're only fucking yourself, right? Nobody cares at the end of the day how you, the person watching this, is going to do in trading, right? Nobody cares. Literally no one. Everyone's focused on themselves, everyone's doing their own thing. So at the end of the day, the best thing you can do is find a formula where you don't lie to yourself, where you improve a tiny bit every single day, and where that transfers into like real long-term knowledge, right? So the very first thing to remember is that we are responsible for everything, right? And on top of that, we will hit these plateaus of being stuck. Right, in a company, what happens when you get stuck, or you don't know what to do, or you feel a little bit confused, especially if you're like a natural salaried employee? What happens? Does anybody know? Desperation, no. A coworker or a boss or a leader, or somebody above you comes to the rescue, picks you up like a princess, and shows you exactly what to do so you can continue doing it, right? That's it. You just ask the manager tells you what to do. It's all easy, right? In trading, you hit your plateau, you hit your cloud, and you don't have a guide going, keep walking, keep walking. You'll have some people around you, like our team, like myself, that says, if you keep walking, you will make it. Here are some things you can focus on. But you really don't have anyone hand-holding you saying, here's more money, do exactly this, you're gonna be fine. There's no one there to do that. Trading is one of the only places where there is a true separation of able to be properly helped versus I need to take full reins and control of everything that's going on and push through the boundaries of confusion, right? And at the same time, hopefully, like a video like this or a discussion like this reminds you that confusion is part of everything you do. So one form of this confusion was from our man Sass here, right? He said, is it just me or did you experience something like this too while doing a prop firm, right? Or whatever this is. You can replace prop firm here, just so you guys know, with anything. Is it just me or did you experience this as you went through the mentfx course? Is it just me or did you experience this when you watched a video? Is it just me or did you experience this when you watched this webinar as we speak right now? Is it just me or when you back tested, did you feel this? Is it just me or when you were case studying you felt this, right? I want to remind you that as you work through the portal material, every single part of the portal material, right? So from the story, from learning how to actually trade the system, to risk management, to case studying, to forward testing, to back testing, all of these aspects are going to force you to feel this way, where you're going to be like, oh shit, right? I have confusion. I feel like I might not be able to power through this. I want you to remember in the future that that is simply that cloud, right? You are simply hiking that mountain and you're in that cloud and it feels like it's never going to end and you're going to be in that cloud for the rest of time. But with time, with good information, which is what hopefully you view what you're getting here as good information, but maybe you don't. But with good information and with time, you start to get to the other side and you start to see how clear everything becomes. That's what's happened to a lot of our members here. That's why a lot of people actually end up getting funded and continue from there and start building their accounts, because all that's happening is they're getting to those clouds and they're simply pushing through them because they realize it's a cloud and it's not concrete. You don't have to fucking bang your head on the concrete until you get through, right? So you can replace this thing here, this prop firm challenge, with anything. I'm going to tell you right now, as you work through the material, you will become confused. As you do your case studying, you will feel extremely confused, right? You're going to look at a market and say, what do I do? This market, it just makes no sense, right? It's gonna happen. It's a good thing. If you allow it to exist, you will improve. If you think it's a problem, you will fall backwards, right? That's how trading works. That's how improvement works. But what he said here is for himself is that he's been working on a challenge for over 3 months, and he enters on the 1 hour time frame. I'm sticking to my rules. My back test stats are similar to Ment's with around a 20% win rate. I know that's why I just have to wait for a winning trade, but it just feels like I'm a bit stuck and I'm not making progress. Right, so what we can now do is we can now attribute this issue to one of those 5 spots, right? So clearly he has system and he understands the system. Maybe he understands it to 95% because part of system is understanding how weighting and stats actually work out, right? 2 is risk management. Clearly, he probably has a good understanding of that. 3 is case studying. He's probably 90 to 95% on his case studying, where the case studying all makes sense, all the trades make sense, but there's a misunderstanding between time allocated to each individual trade, right? Then you have back testing. Clearly, the back testing, based on what I'm seeing here, is likely at 100%. He understands what he's doing. He understands the kind of trades he's looking for. He understands that over time he makes money, right? But 5, where we get to live trading, we know that that is where this confusion cloud is now coming down on him. We know that he's hiking through that frigid cold air and he's like, oh shit, what's going on, right? And there could be reasons for it, but all that's happening right now is he has a better understanding than 95% of people, and he is still running into very big roadblocks or guaranteed confusion because simply he is at that level in his trading, right? And then you can see, as a result, the response he gets is very, very similar to what I'm saying right now, and it highlights that every single person like him has been through that moment, which is important. On one hand, I always say this, all of you that are watching this right now, that are hearing this, are important. You guys are all unique. You are special in your own ways. You have your own preferences, your own personality traits, your own likes, your own dislikes, your own interests, your own dreams. All of you have this, but you are all the exact same in regards to the confusion and disappointment and whatever else that you'll feel in association with the stages of trading. All of us have experienced it. All of us will experience it. The simple question becomes, How do you deal with it? So as special as all of us are, none of us have experienced or done anything new in the trading space, right? So I want to remind you that everything that I've done, the 12 years of going through fucking dog shit, the 12 years of changing the system, of evolving my system, the 6 years of profitability in evolving my system, somebody has already done that and done it at a much worse level than even I had to do it at, right? Like maybe they've done like 20 years and whatever else, right? So everyone has done and experienced everything I've experienced. My 2 years, the last 2 years where I've done the best I've ever done and done amazing, and my account is compounding and it looks beautiful, someone else has already done. The issues and the psychological issues and whatever else I face during that time is stuff that everyone that has traded before has felt at some level, and maybe even much higher like feeling than I have, right? So it's a reminder that what you're going through is going to be personal. It's going to be a lot of work, but it's not new. Just like everyone else around you, you will be able to power through it. And this is a contention. This is a demonstration of the fact that this happens to everyone, right? So then Joe says, yo, check your data. It shall show you how much you have to wait to see the progress. How long between trades if you don't even miss anything, right? I mean, what do you think? Market is usually just shit, especially if you trade a 1 hour entry, especially on prop assets where you have much less. Indices are very similar in moments on higher time frames, so those trades are very close together all the time. And gold and so on depends on your rules if you can short, for example. And FX, I mean, I just had a quick look on UJ Daily and close it directly again. I wouldn't touch it very often, right? So this is an example of someone that had that plateau, that was hitting that cloud and came out the other side to the point where he hit the cloud of my data isn't playing out right now. My trades are not playing out right now the way that I saw them all play out over my back test, over my case studying. Why might that be? That's a big issue. When that happens for the first time, you can feel that agitation. Your heart might speed up. You might fucking start dreaming about it at night. You might wake up in tears going, oh my God, there's no trades. What's happening? My data's fucked up, right? But just like Joe here, you come out the other side and you go, okay, what happened during those last 3 months is simply the fact that these were the assets I'm trading and they really didn't have anything happening on them. And I can look back at that exact data from the moment I started trading live and realize and see that this asset didn't actually have anything that I could take or do on it, which means, because you subconsciously start to kind of work through this, you go, which means that most of my live trading or most of the markets I look at and trade are going to be in shittier environments that are kind of untradeable. And now I can see that. Right, but what allowed him to see that, and especially if Joe is here, maybe he can add to it, but I don't know if he is here right now. So maybe he can just hit us up in the trade talk, right? But what Joe saw was that he probably felt this confusion, this fear, especially in association with this exact thing. And 3 months to 4 months later, after he got to look back at the data that he was actually live trading, he can go, okay, if I was backtesting this, here's how it would play out. It makes sense why it didn't work, and now I have a gained expertise as to what time and waiting might look like, right? So this is an example where, you know, in this case, he's having an issue with the prop firm challenge or the version of trading forward test or live, and it's happening for a reason, but he can't see that reason yet, right? But what's beautiful is that if he continues going, which I know SAS will, it's guaranteed to disappear. It's dissipate. You're going to get above the cloud. The cloud will either move on or you're going to hike above it. Both are doable, right? Either with time, the cloud moves on and you go, oh, the cloud's over there. Everything makes sense. 2 months later, this is just a fucking joke. Or you keep pushing through and you get that fundamental understanding of what the math or the data of your system looks like, and you power through the cloud even as it's there, right? So both ways work. Just realize right now that a cloud will move out of the way if you stick to it. You will get above the cloud if you force yourself to start understanding. But the most important thing is that both of these things happen with time, right? And then, you know, you had another funded member kind of come back on him as well and just and explain the same thing to him. You know, he hits him with it's not just you, it's a common issue everyone faces transitioning to live. So again, remember that a common issue everyone faces doesn't just happen in transitioning to live or transitioning to backtest or transitioning to case study. This happens at any point. Think about the person that's been learning a version of support resistance and random imbalances and zones and trading through every single high all day, every day on lower time frames. Think about what happens to them the first time they come into our team and they start seeing me go, all right, listen, you're not going to be trading most of the time. You're going to look for moves that are doing this, that are as clean as possible. The first thing that's going to happen in their mind is, oh shit, I've been learning to trade everything, every day, at every moment, every single time, every head and shoulders, every switch, every change of character, every imbalance. And he's telling me, all of that is unnecessary, and it's actually losing me money. Oh, fuck. And wait, Anton, you're telling me I don't have to predict every moment in the market and predict how the move is going to happen during every single moment of every single day and what high and low it's going to go for? Oh, shit. Right? You're going to feel that confusion. That's going to be the transition from one form of understanding to another. You're going to feel that also when you move from the form of understanding to thinking in win rates, to thinking in loss rates, to thinking in actually taking losses. It's going to happen when you transition from doing that and then case studying. The first time you case study something, the same thing is likely to happen. The first time you case study anything, right? The first time you case study like a random move that you find, the first thing you're going to do is you're going to say, where do I even case study? What do I take? And who knows, you might even start trading like trash areas. You might look at something like this and be like, this is an area I would trade. I should trade it. And it's all going to fail and it's all going to go to shit. And the first thing you're going to feel is, I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know how to do it. I'm never going to get this down. It's all fucked. But the more you do it, the more you start noticing, oh, these are moments that would be harder to trade for these reasons. These moments might be easier to trade for those reasons. If I start corresponding that with multiple timeframes, with the EVC, maybe even with a screener, all of a sudden the understanding changes. The cloud moves on or you power above it, right? So this will happen to you no matter who you are and where you're coming from because, well, every transition, everything new that we learn is going to be guaranteed to cause some form of confusion. So it's your reminder to just simply let it happen and keep moving forward because it's the only way you improve. The people that don't improve are the people that never choose to keep moving forward. Or they're just simply stuck learning suboptimal information, right? Like, of course, right? Like if you have the choice between learning from a book that has created, 14 good scientists in the world, or learning from a book that has a Lambo on the front and it's like, you read this book and you'll know science and you'll get rich, right? Then, that suboptimal information is going to cause confusion that you can't power through. It's going to be the concrete wall, right? And then what said here is, in backtesting, you get to practice seeing your system and growing confidence. So you have positive EV. Yep. But what you don't get from backtesting is practicing patience. This is huge. The passing of time. This is huge. Keep following your rules. You did the hard work already of developing them. So let things play out. So again, it's the same exact thing over and over and over again. Let the time play out and force the thing because it's going to get you past the cloud, right? And I think this is a beautiful way to put it, which is that most of what we do when we move to live, or the real transition and the issue with the transition to moving to live is that what we're now doing is we're practicing patience, right? We're practicing patience in the passing of time. Most of trading, as I love to say, is, no matter whether you're a higher or lower time frame trader, is patiently waiting for your setup. If you're trading intraday, you could be waiting anywhere from 6 hours to 7 hours for one good trade over the span of 5 minutes. Even on a lower time frame, you may actually have to wait 3 days for 3 minutes of a good system, of a good setup on the 4th day, right? On a lower time frame, it might just be the case that you're looking for 5 hours and you get your 5-minute window. On a higher time frame, it might be the case that you have to wait 3 to 6 months on one market for it just to come out and maybe make an accumulation that's worth trading. This would be like a decent example. If this was a very high time frame, right, the time that it might become tradable to, let's say, the bullish side would be in this moment there, at least for me, right? Again, and this comes a lot from my case studying, which is what allows me to say this is where I may want to be a buyer and start looking for this leg here, or maybe it pauses and then makes a leg here, right? But if you look at it overall from a standpoint of when were you a seller, or at what point would you start being a buyer from all of this, you can see if this is an hourly time frame, right, you're waiting maybe a few days before it becomes good. If this is a weekly time frame, this could be, Jesus Christ, this could be like 4 years before a market becomes contextually viable, right? So it's a reminder that no matter who you are or what you're going through, one, we've all faced these things, and two, we have to learn something new at each stage of our process, right? Backtesting is hard because we have to have an actual system, refine our system, get better at our system, and then allow ourselves to keep sticking to the rules within the backtest, even if it's going through poor periods of drawdown and shit feels bad because it's like everything's failing, but you need to allow yourself to see if the system is profitable, right? Then the live is even harder because that same thing that you did can now take 6 years in real trading, which breaks people's minds, right? I'm sure you guys can understand that. Like what might take, a week of backtesting might take 2 to 3 years of live execution, right? For me to get this, right? For me to backtest what you see here would probably take me about, 2 to 3 weeks of consistent backtesting, maybe like just doing 30 minutes to an hour of backtesting a day. And I could get a version of a curve or equity curve that looks like this. For me to get this exact same equity curve that you now see, it has taken about 2 years. We're almost at the 2-year mark for just the equity curve in front of you, right? Well, that is a huge difference, right? Because a lot of people throw in the towel at the 1 month mark, if not before that, when they move to live trading, right? Your best example of this is how many people quit trading when they start live. Data statistic. Forget what the data statistic is, but it's somewhere interesting. Yeah. So like studies show for live data around 90% of day traders at least fail within the first year, right? So and likely quit, right? And that's within a year of just executing something. Look at this right here. This is insane. I don't know if you guys can see this, but 40% of day traders at least quit within a month. And only 13% remain after 3 years. So this means that about half of the competitive battlefield of trading, right? Half of them quit after a month of executing. I mean, think about what that actually means if you've been through the material here, if you've worked through the material, if you understand how material and how trades actually work, right? Think about what that means. That means that they've probably given less than 0.2% of what their system is capable of to actually trading, right? And they might not even have a system to start with, and then they're quitting, right? Like it's a very interesting thing to keep in mind, right? And I see some people are messaging some stuff, so let's take a quick look here before I move on. But yeah, we're looking good. So Bench says, in a sense, we are lucky as members of the mentorship as we get to look over your shoulder as you are so transparent with your trades and what you are doing and thinking. Well, yes, that's one aspect of what you can do here, right? You can also look over the shoulder of many other people that are also doing it, right? And you can learn from them. You don't have to you don't even have to think about along the lines of he could be lying, this guy could be lying, right? You simply can look at what they're doing, look at it in reference to the material and ask yourself, does this make sense to me and can I make use of this or not? That's it, right? That is the beauty of thinking for yourself, of acting responsibly, of being your own company, your own employee, of being everything your own, and simply improving from there, right? Cameraman says, Anton says 100% true. I went through that process and I was confused. Case study, confused. Data collection, confused. Backtest, confused. But if you continue to work, confusion disappears. And that's an amazing thing to hear, cameraman. I'm really happy for you, man. Bench says, I have just completed a year. Long forward test on assets available on prop challenges. SAS, keep going. It's just a game of being patient. I know full well it may take me another year to pass a funded challenge. It will then probably be another year before I get a payout. You have to set your sights on the long game and increase the value of your account through compounding. Yes. Fizzler says, confusion is there for growth. It never completely goes away, but its level increases as we learn to be more curious and analyze more. Since I never want to stop learning, I try to embrace it. Good. Thinkerbell says that confusion is going to live trading and awaiting that data to play out is such a good place to be in. You are close. Yeah, it's one of the best places you can actually be, right? How can I get my hands on your Excel sheet? Oh yeah, it's in there. But you're completely correct, right? Being confused or feeling this element of fear or getting psychologically torn by the fact that you are now live and it's not playing out perfect is one of the best places to be, because in a sense that is literally your last moment. That is that last cloud that you're peeking through. You're about to be at the peak of the summit, right? You're about to look over the fucking entire mountain. You're gonna see the most beautiful valley, and you're just gonna simply have the choice now to either hike more mountains, compound your account, or do whatever the fuck else you want to do, right? So it's a good place to be. If your issue is coming right now to moving literally into live trading because you have all this proof of profitability and all this proof of all the work you've done, then you're already at one of the best places to be.